Bravo, Sophie. Thanks to you, our guests shall be honored with a marvelous banquet. But what good is an exotic feast without an equally exquisite aperitif? I guess that's wine. Luckily, I know just the person to ask. Make your way to Wineport and seek out Shamani Lomani, another former member of the company. All you have to do is give him this order slip. He'll take care of the rest. Oh, and if you're wondering if this is merely a ploy to test your patience, I assure you I do actually need that wine. And while you're there, give Shamani Lomani my regards. You could need the wine and it could still be a ploy. I'm just saying. Sweet, grim, and blood. Aye, you reek of blood. Oh, wait, let me start over again. Sweat, grime, and blood. Aye, you reek of blood. An adventurer, unless I am mistaken. What brings you to Wineport? In order? Let me guess. A request for the finest vintage I can muster. The paper smells of loam and perfume. Costa del Sol? And there is also the unmistakable odor of goblin cheese. Yes, Master Gagaruj would not settle for anything less than the best. Dristwites and his crew must be quite busy preparing an exotic feast, hence its decision to rely on an adventurer. Ah, but perhaps you are confused. The display of deduction was not intended to impress you. When one loses his vision, he is forced to compensate in other ways. But you've no interest in my affairs. You wish only to discuss the wine, I suspect. You would suspect correct. Life can be so delightfully unpredictable. I always had a passion for wine, but it wasn't until I was forced to retire that I could pursue it as more than a mere hobby. It wouldn't have been possible if not for the savings I amassed during my time as a mercenary, of course. Say what you will about the nature of that work, none can deny that it pays well. Ah, but you are impatient. And Weiscat must have his wine. Herein lies the problem. Nothing in my possession is of sufficient quality for his occasion. The best vintages in town are hoarded by Biergalent, who owns and operates the largest winery in Bilebrand. Somehow, I doubt he will be receptive to your request, but given these circumstances, we must needs beg his assistance. I gotta go talk to the beer guy. Beer guy! What rank amateur bottled this wine? The impurities have rendered it nigh undrinkable. Dismissal is too good for the man responsible. He should be made to drink every drop of this polluted swill. What is it? I am in the middle of an important discussion and I do not care for interruptions. That neophyte Vintner bid you speak with me? Ha! Neither you nor your friend has the palate to appreciate the subtle qualities of my private stock. I would sooner serve the Gavu urine than sell you my worst vintage. Be gone from my sight. Wow. You would rather sell Gavu urine to me than give me a bottle of wine. What a jerk. I take it he said no? Really, in those words? Well, I cannot say that I am surprised. While there's no denying his passion and skill, the wine baron of Limsa is not a man known for his tact. Very well, we shall have to take an alternative approach. There is a chance, however small, that another resident of Wineport can furnish us with a suitable wine. In fact, had you come several years ago, I guarantee this would not be a problem. Alas, the quality of our product has declined significantly in recent years. The only breeds cultivated these days are common lowland vines, which isn't to say that their grapes are of poor quality, only that we have known better. Long ago, the vinerans of Wineport crossbred several species and produced a grape-bearing wine of never-before-seen quality. Bacchus grapes were once the pride of this town, as they were used to produce vintages that surpassed all others. This includes the most aromatic, the most complex, the most flavorful of all wines. Aye, the legendary Bacchus wines were born right here in Wineport. Pardon my enthusiasm. You see, I once had the privilege to sample that particular wine. It was an otherworldly experience in that moment. I felt as though I had tasted the nectar of the gods themselves. I transcended my mortal flesh and was one with all creation. But it is all too often said the calamity changed that. The Bacchus vineyards were completely destroyed, along with much of the existing stock of Bacchus wine. What little remains is closely guarded by its owners, for it can no longer be made. If we cannot convince Beer Glint to part with his wines, our next best option, as ridiculous as it sounds, is to find someone who has a bottle of Bacchus wine and to offer them every gil we can spare. I've heard rumors that one of the venerans tending the vineyards might have owned a bottle. Perhaps you could start by speaking with them. Perhaps I could. Alright, we gotta go find a vineyard or vinegar, I don't know what they call them. I gotta go find a farmer that's got a Bacchus wine, which isn't likely to happen, but we gotta try. What? Do I have Bacchus wine? I wish. I never had the chance to try it myself. Sorry friend, but you're a few years too late. Where's the other one at? Oh, there he is, okay. Bacchus wine? Don't remind me. I used to have a cellar filled with this stuff. Though I could keep the wine, I could keep the wine safe from thieves and the elements, never counted on a bloody primal blowing up my God's damn house. But you should have gotten primal insurance. You would have been in good hands with Allstate. This episode is not sponsored by Allstate, by the way. So, you know, don't worry about that. Besides, why would Allstate sponsor this episode? I'm much more at the level of a Geico. You can get 15% off on primal insurance with Geico. Check out geico.com. No luck, Most forgettable, but we had to try. But Bacchus wine would have been perfect for the occasion. Though, I must confess, my certitude could be due in part to my personal history with the beverage. It is, after all, the very reason I decided to become a vintner. After Titan blinded me in the battle beneath Ogumoro, I fell into a deep depression. It wasn't until I tasted Bacchus wine for the first time that I realized there was still so much I could experience, even in my condition. It helped me to realize, or to find, a new direction in life. It breaks my heart to think that the wondrous ambrosia which once filled me with hope may be forever lost to us. I must say, this talk of Bacchus wine has made me rather nostalgic. Indeed, there is much I miss about my life with the company of heroes. After everything the captain has done for me, I could not bear to disappoint him. Aye, have no fear. I swear that I shall find a suitable wine for the banquet, though I may need some time to think of a solution. In the meantime, there's a favor I would ask of you. 2 years ago, in the deepest depths of my despair, I stumbled across Vilebrand as a vagabond drunk. I suspected I was looking for a place to die because I very nearly found one not too far from here. It was there that a man named Dress took me in and nursed me back to health, and it was he who gave me my first taste of Bacchus wine, which helped me to find my new calling. Though I am still a novice in the arts of winemaking, I would like him to know that I am pursuing my dream. The wine is my own original. This wine is my own original creation, and I would be most grateful if you delivered it to him in my stead. Dress sometimes works at the Raincatcher Gully docks, so perhaps Riskit. Sure, we'll go with Riskit. Can tell you where to find him. In case you're wondering, yes, a lot of the names in Final Fantasy XIV are stupid hard to say. I feel like... So, the Ellas and races are a lot like French-style names, and they're not... If you're familiar with the way that they pronounce that, it's not terribly hard, but it is a little... It'll throw you off some. And, of course, then there's a lot of names for some of the races that are just normal, you know, human-type names. Interestingly, the Rogadin, these big guys here, have two versions of names. They'll have... Some of them have names, depending on which clan they're from. Some of them will have names that are literally just two words put together, like Drunk Stag, or White Cloud, or... I don't know. There's actually a character named Curious George. Like, that actually happens. But then the other tribe has these horribly hard names, like Riskilt. And I feel like they just... When the creators decided to come up with the naming conventions, they were just like, let's have one group of people whose names are just a bunch of... We just take all the letters that we don't usually use and throw them together, and people can just try their best to figure it out. And that's how what I feel like some of these names are. It's terrible. Dressed? Oh, you mean the hermit? I toss him a few gil when we need an extra pair of hands. He doesn't talk about himself, and I sure as hell don't ask. When a man's got a face with scars like that, you best leave well enough alone, I say. If you've a mind to find him, though, then head southwest to the Severed String. The Severed String, okay. So some of these names, I'm just gonna do the best I can. They're not gonna be perfect, but I'm gonna try. Trying to think what other... I definitely think the Rogadin names are probably the hardest, but I'm trying to think what other naming conventions are hard. Some of the Lalafell names aren't hard, they're just obnoxious, like Gagaruju. Like, really? That's just an obnoxious one to say. Yeah, it's not hard, it's just annoying. And then I don't think there's really too much past that that's really bad. This is pretty much those ones like that Riskit guy right there was just like, come on. Who named this character? What do you want? I bring you some wine. Wine? I didn't ask for this. Who sent you? Ugh. Can't sleep. They won't let me sleep. The midges, the buzzing, it keeps me awake. I never want to hurt anyone. I won't fight. I don't want to fight. Please make the buzzing stop. Make the midges go away. This is one of the more interesting characters because it seems like he has some incredible backstory, and they've never actually used it that I know of, unless it showed up somewhere. Maybe it'll happen in Endwalker, I don't know. It's not so loud anymore. Did you do that? Thank you. You helped me, even after what my comrades and I did to your country. We were on a reconnaissance mission when the Maelstrom caught us by surprise. We tried to escape, but no one else survived. I didn't ask for this, damn it. I'm not even Garlean. They conquered my lands just like they tried to conquer yours. I don't want to die in some blasted jungle halfway around the world. I just want to go home. I wish to thank you. I wish to thank Shamani for the wine. That was overly kind. Would you be willing to bear a gift back to him? Earlier today at Red Mantis Falls, I collected the sap from nearby palm trees. If placed in coconut shells and stored for a few bells' time, it makes for a fine wine. See, it should be ready by now. I left 3 shells out there. Please take them to Shamani for me. I'm glad he's moved on with his life. I hope to one day do the same. So I mean, I guess you could say that, like, okay, you get the idea of his backstory is that he's a former, he was here for the Garlean Empire, spying, and then he got caught, and everybody else died, so he's just like a deserter and trying to survive now. But I feel like there could be more to his story, because, like, I don't know, he said he's, like, not even from here, right? So where is he from? Because if he's not Garlean, then he could be from Alamigo, he could be from Doma, he could be from one of the countries up north that we don't know yet. So I feel like there's more that you could do with this character. The one thing I do really like about him, though, is that they do kind of use him, if you're paying attention, to show you that a lot of the people that fight for the Garlean Empire are not of Garlemald, if that makes sense. So they kind of do it because they got captured themselves and forced to do it, and that kind of becomes a running theme. But just as many people that got captured and forced to do it, you're going to find out there are also people that got captured and told to do it and then found out they liked doing it and commit themselves to it. So you can't assume with the Garland soldiers that they're necessarily evil, but you also can't assume that they're all victims, because some of them are not. And that all comes to a head later in further expansions, but it does kind of give you the groundwork for it with that character, so that's kind of cool. And then maybe someday we'll see more of it and we'll figure out more of the story. It'd be interesting if they brought him back at some point. It has been some time, Soapy. What news do you have of Drest? Ah, yes, I recall he did have some knowledge of winemaking. A simplistic but nevertheless effective method that utilizes the natural properties of palm sap. I shall have to enjoy this batch before it spoils. We are not so different, Drest and I. 2 men who have long struggled not to let our scars define us. I worry that he's been alone with his thoughts for too long, though. It is past time I paid him a visit. Thank you for looking after him, Sophie. By the gods, Sophie, listen. I know you're eager to wash your hands of this wine business, but I've just discovered something extraordinary about Drest palm wine. He selected each coconut shell with the leaf, or he sealed each coconut shell with a leaf which has a very distinct shape and unusual color. I thought I was going mad at first, but now I'm certain these are the leaves of a Bacchus grapevine. Do you know what that means? Somewhere in Raincatcher Gully, the legendary vine still grows. If we could obtain a cutting, we could revive the Bacchus wine industry. We must know where Drest found these leaves. Here, take one of them back to him and see what he remembers. Okay, I'm gonna ask, but I don't have any promise for you. Oh, hello again. What is it? It's just a leaf, isn't it? I only chose it because it was pretty. Didn't know it was rare. I found them near the Juggernaut to the south, but I didn't see any grapevines. I saw fresh gabu tracks, though. Maybe the leaves came from vines growing on the back of one such beast? If you go looking for it, please be careful. Some gabus are more territorial than others, and you may have to defend yourself. Why does everybody think I can't fight gabus? I've been fighting Gabu since I was knee high to a lava fell. Come on now. I can handle a Gabu or 10. These Gabus ain't got nothing on me. Come here, big boy. I'm gonna womp ya. I stomped that Gabu a new one right there. Also, I think I was muted again during the fight. I keep accidentally. So here's the problem is, for some dumb reason, I don't have this problem with other games, but with Final Fantasy XIV, I totally had this problem, where dismounting my chocobo is the same, not the same button, but it's the button right next to muting my mic. And so a few times I've accidentally muted my mic while I was trying to dismount or mount up, and I didn't realize I had done it, and I think I've been doing that a few times, so it's kind of becoming an issue. Somehow, someday, I'll find my way back to you. Oh, I'm supposed to take it to... You know what, though? Now I'm kind of glad I came back here and talked to him, because, like, obviously there's someone that he wants to go back to. So... I hope they do more with that character. I'm not gonna lie. I would like them to. Aha ha! I was right. This smell, this texture, I hold in my hands a Bacchus grapevine cutting. Come now, enough of this nonsense. I've heard talk of your discovery, and I refuse to believe that a common adventurer and a novice vintenier could... Well, was my witness, it is a Bacchus grapevine. Wherever did you find this fantastic specimen? What? You would offer this to me? But why? There is none better positioned to reconstruct the Bacchus vineyards than you, Master Beerglint. You have the resources, the knowledge, and the passion to do so. It would be selfish of me to keep this cutting. I never knew you cared so deeply about your craft. Thank you, good sir. I will not squander this gift. In just a few years' time, I swear that every tavern across Eorzea will once again be clamoring for a cask of Wineport's legendary Bacchus wine. Sir, you needn't... Wait, the shape of this bottle, the scent of this label? This couldn't possibly be... 1547 Bacchus? But that's impossible. This vintage has not been seen since years before the calamity. It was the crown jewel of my personal collection. For years, I debated opening it, wondering if today or tomorrow would be the ideal time. But now I realize that it was never meant for me. It should be savored by the saviors of Wineport, I say. He has made us an offer we cannot refuse. Master Gegeruju will find no finer wine. You have forever changed Wineport, Soapy. Thank you for your kindness and your generosity. Ah, but do not permit me to delay you any longer. Pray, deliver the wine to Captain Wisecat. Well, yes, I would very much like to drink it, but I am a patient man. I have faith that one day I shall have another opportunity to taste perfection.